Yes, so I'm sharing my screen now. Please confirm you can see my screen. And I hide this guy. Okay, so let me just move the guy. All right, please confirm you can see my screen. Can we see my screen?
Yes.
All right, good. So we've gone through all this in our last class, but today I will just try. So what I'll do is you can also do this on your own environment. Just go to this page. Go to this page. Let me drop it on the message. So that's like our textbook. And I now open the second page, which is my editor. That is where I will just put editor, or let me just say scripting environment. So your scripting environment, that's where you'll be writing the script. Yes, so you can open 2 pages also. So what we'd be doing is we pick a concept. We can go through the textbook and see what the textbook is saying. Then we come here and we use our hand to type it. And that's it. Yes, but a little bit background so that in case you're trying to see how this relates to your environment on your, maybe on your desktop or anything, the expectation is when you get to any organization, the first thing you ask for is where maybe you get the understanding of their server. So that level 1 server. Then, and the reason why this server is important is that it helps you to get the type of GUI you are to install on your laptop. So for example, if you get to an environment and they tell you they're using MySQL server, that's MySQL server, then you know that what you're downloading is MySQL Workbench. And I can remember telling us an example of your CPU and your monitor. So your server is the same as your CPU, but the workbench, the MySQL Workbench is your monitor, which is an interface like what you're seeing on my screen. But at the back end of this interface, that's where you have your server, right? The way you have CPU at the back end of a monitor. So everything you're doing on the monitor is going straight to the CPU and is giving you your result on your screen. Yes, so the same thing with business environment. So if they're using MySQL, you download MySQL Workbench. If you get there and they are using Microsoft SQL, then you know you download Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. So that's like the GUI for Microsoft. Then if you get there and they say they are using Oracle, then you can download platform like maybe Toad and all those things. And yes, so the summary is that for every backend, for every server, there is a specific GUI that you can use to connect to it. So yes, and if it's Azure, on the Azure cloud, you can spin up Microsoft SQL Server. You can do MySQL on Azure also. Yes. But if you now go directly to environments like GCP, and you're talking like things like Google BigQuery, so that one doesn't have an external application. You just know that everything is in the cloud. So your GUI, your database, everything is in the cloud. And when you're using something like Snowflakes also, so Snowflakes also make use of a storage, which is either in AWS or Azure, but the summary is that everything is now in the cloud. So you have an interface like this where you can write your query. So you can see that, and the reason why it's good to get familiar with an environment like this is that it's a matter of time. People will no longer be installing solution on their laptop, and everything will just move to the cloud, and you go and focus on the cloud. So if you know how to use an environment like this, it's a plus for you, right? Because you're already used to querying database from a GUI, which is on the internet or online. Yes, so that's that. So maybe with time we can see how snowflakes work too, but not this batch, but that's later. So these are GUI. This is the environment whereby you write your queries. And in this environment, there are some tables already designed for you. And if you can look at my right-hand side, you can see all the tables. So like I said, the first thing you want to do whenever you're given Good. So the first thing you want to do whenever you're given any question or any query is to understand where the table is sitting. For example, if they're asking you for anything about customers and you know that there is a customer table, like we are seeing here, customers table, like we are seeing here, you can run this and it gives you a view of everything that is within your customer data set. So this is, you can see the basics is select star from the table name, right? And I always tell people this about SQL, that when you get to any SQL environment, the first thing is you learn how to write comments. And comments are documents for humans. So your query environment will not run it. And it's a line comment is, if you put dash dash, anything you type is a comment. You can see it in green. That's why you can run, and this guy will still run. Um, okay. So it's not seeing, but the expectation is that your comment should not be run by your SQL server, right? So this one is still seeing it. Well, I think maybe it's because it's the GUI, but in this environment, just write the script and move on. Okay, good. So let's see our learning. So we've done introduction to SQL, and this one is the syntax. That's how things have been written in SQL. So here, select star from customer, which was what we did, and you can see your table, right? Then the first thing, first, will I say maybe chapter 1, is explaining what select is. Why is this thing not loading? Okay, think, is that my browser? 1 minute. Okay, so let's see how select works. So the next thing we want to do now is we are interested in few columns within our table. And this, as simple as it is a very important thing. It's one of the very important things you do as a data analyst. A live scenario, when you get to an environment and you ask for customer information, it's expected that they give you a customer table. And this customer table, because of the nature of the business, I've worked with banks before, and on a customer table, you can have like 100 or 150 columns about customers inside one table. But the question is, as a data analyst, are all these columns relevant to the analysis you're doing at that point in time? No. So maybe in your analysis, you just needed the customer ID and the customer name and maybe the person's country. So if you don't know how to write SQL and you just connect directly to your database, although you can use your Power BI or Tableau to pick, but it will pick all the irrelevant columns. Hence, you will now be filtering your data within your Power BI. It will work, but is wrong because you're using Power BI to do more than is expected. If you're not careful, your report will be slow and people might end up not using what you've produced. So as simple as understanding the basis of identifying a table structure and picking your relevant column for analysis. And that's the only thing you connect to your visualization to. So in this case, now let's pick customer ID, customer name, and the country. So if I come here, rather than write select star, I will just specify the column I'm interested in. If I say customer ID, comma, customer name, name, then the last one is what? Country. Let's just pick country, right? So these are the 3 columns that are important to me at this point in time. So if I run this, it gives me just those 3 columns. So somebody saying, what have we done? Yes, we've written a query. We've written a script. And this script is just requesting for 3 columns, which are needed in this analysis. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's move on. So that's what select help you to do. So when you select and you specify the columns, then it picks the columns you're interested in. Then the next thing is distinct. So distinct is somebody was asking about data preparation or data cleaning or all those things. So the expectation is that sometimes in the data set you're given, there are duplicate values. For example, if I'm interested in knowing all the countries where my customers are from, remember, if I just come here and I just selected the country, it gives me all the country. You can see it's still showing 91 record. But are all my customers from 91 country? No. You can see duplicate Mexico here, right? So if I want to know the distinct count of the countries where my customers are from, I can just put the distinct function here. So it will give me distinct country from customers. So if I run this, okay, 1 minute. Distinct country from customers. So let me run this. 1 minute. Good. Yes. I don't know. It's the browser, but it's fine. So you can see what distinct country is doing. It is now showing 21 records. And if you scroll through all these countries, you will see there is no duplicate there. So it's giving me distinct countries from which my customers come, like from which I have my customers. So that's using the distinct function, right? Another guide I can go with this is, although because you're on, yes, any environment where you're working with, we actually always show you the number of records, right? At least to show you the number of records you're expecting in your result. But I can say, oh, I want to have the count as a value. I can say, give me count of distinct countries from customers. So you can see this is another aggregation. The count is an aggregation function. So I'm just running it on distinct countries. So I'm expecting a result of 21. So if I run this, where is it complaining? Okay, count, where is it? It's complaining about distinct, undefined function distinct. But the guy walked down. Okay, let me see this. Okay, oh, it's fine. Count. Okay, so well, as far as the distinct can work, but the expectation is the count distinct should also be able to work. I think those are just all the nuances of environment, but so you should be able to count. So if I come here, let me change this distinct to count. Let me say something. So count is a function. You can see it's showing 91. So why is it now not showing distinct? Let me see something. Well, it's not accepting it, but it's fine. All right. Yes, do we have any questions so far? Let me see if this will work. I just want to get that 21 out, but the guy is not giving me. But just know that you can next function as far as you're putting it in the bracket. So if you have normal environment, you can try it. It might work there, but I won't be tempted to move to any other environment. But if you have normal environment, that function should work. But that's that. Yes, do we have any questions so far? So that's what this page is telling us. So, but distinct, is that not what I did? Count distinct. I don't understand this guy. Is it not distinct? Distinct. Let me see. Maybe it's telling me my spelling is wrong. D-I-S-T-I-N-C-T. That's strange. Well, maybe this environment is case sensitive. Okay. Fine that he's failing here too. If your browser Is it not Chrome I'm using? So, but at least you can see even they note. Oh, okay. Are we on Microsoft Access? Well, that's just their issue. But at least they've added it here that it should work. But oh, okay. Okay, I get it. So they used another method, but that's fine. Yes, but do we understand that? At least we've used Dixtins and we've seen how Dixtins work. So the next thing is the where function. So this where is so powerful in the sense that it helps us to filter our record by rows. Remember, the first thing we did was to select our record, followed by selecting distinct column. But even at that selecting separate column, then we notice that, okay, for country, we notice repetition. So we're able to select, what's it called? Distinct country from country. Yes, and we have that. But all these things we are doing is only, we are running through all the columns. That's what we are doing. But with your where clause, you can filter records within a table. So like the example we have here, it says select all customers from Mexico. So if I come here, let me follow the approach I normally use for every SQL question. So maybe they ask you and they say, can you get the list of all customers from Mexico as we have in the other one? So the first thing is you look at your customer table, right? Once you see your customer table, you look for the column that contains the value you're looking for. In this case, they're asking you for customers from Mexico. And you can see there is the country column that contains the Mexico. So you just say country, you say where country, where this column, which is country, equals Mexico. For this Mexico, you need to quote it. So some environments use single quotes, some environments use double quotes, but I feel both should work. Like both should work. But yes, both should work. But if you have maybe a single quote in the name you are using, then you should use double quote at the end. So that single quote won't confuse the system. So that's just the caveat. So single quote or double quote, you're good. And it's not case sensitive. You can see this is small letter and this capital. So that's a where clause. And your where clause, I said, is the most powerful because it works with a lot of operators. Yes, and these are all the operators your where clause work with. So if you're dealing with numerical value, you can use greater than or less than, greater than or equal to, you can use between. So let's try one example. So you can see, so they can select record where customer ID is greater than 80. So you can just come here and say customer ID, where customer ID is greater than, I was feeling that we've done this thing before. So greater than 80. So I had that feelings that we've done it before, but we can just run this once and you can see started from 81, 82 and the likes. Yes. So then we have all these other, so like this one, search for pattern. I know I've not mentioned it, but let's see how like works. So your like works like your phone book on your phone. Remember, if you want to dial Seun's number now, you don't need to know my phone number. Just know that my name started with S. That will really save you a lot. So once you get to your phone, just type S. It shows you all the list of people in there. You say, oh, I remember the guy name is Seun, followed by E. By the time you type SEU, at least the list you'll be seeing should be the list of people you can identify. If you go to some people's phone, you will see Seun UK, Seun Nigeria, Seun, you understand? That's how they're using it to identify their friends. Or you can put Seun, your place of work, Seun, your area, all those things. And before you know it, once you type that first name, you will be able to filter your result. So that's the same way that likes work. But like uses two parameters, two operators. One is the percentage operator, so, and the other one is the underscore operator. Percentage operator gives you many characters. So let's stop talking and let's see how it works. So if I want to pick Annabella, we can see that is the contact name that contains what? Annabella, right? I can say where contact name, like, that's using my like operator. Then I will quote this guy. I know that Annabella is the person's first name, but I don't know the last name. I can just put Annabella, then a percentage sign. The meaning of percentage sign is that anything that follow Annabella's, bring it up, right? Anything that follows Annabella. So if I run this, can you see? At once, the guy was able to say, okay, there is only one Annabella, and the guy is from Brazil, and I'm fine. So let's say it's even Annabelle, I remember, or Anna. Let me look for Anna. I just say Anna, the guy is Anna something, I can't remember. Just put Anna and put percentage. It brings out all the Hannah you have in your record, like your phone book, and so, oh, it's Annabella I'm looking for, right? Then you can see the person's customer ID and say, oh, the person's customer ID is 81. So that's how your like works. Then there is an advanced value. Okay, that's the percentage. So percentage is any once you put percentage, as much as possible, right? But let's say I'm interested in getting Anna, but I don't remember the person's name is Anna. Like I said, I just know that the person's name started with A and it contains only 3 characters. Say the person is like, is okay, this is actually more than 3 characters. How will I do that? I need something like 3 or 2 characters. Okay, or let me not say 3 characters. Let me assume that I know the person's contact name. I know that both his first name and last name, which to some extent might not be possible. Oh, let me use postal code. Let me know that the person's postal code started with 0 and 5 and contains 3 additional value, which is 1, 2, 3, right? I don't know, but I just know this person's, maybe if I see the number, at least I can know. You know, we have a lot of postcode. So I can say that in this case, I'm interested in postal code, postal the code. Then like, I know it's starting with 05, but I don't know the last 3 numbers. So I will just put underscore 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So that's 3 underscore. So 05 and 3 underscores. That's the second operator of a like function. So if I run this, can you see? So it brings out all the names with that follows this pattern, which is what? They started with 05 and followed by 3 values. Then you can see my list from 91 records is now 5 records. So it's easier for I say, oh, is Anna I'm looking for? Is Anna? I said, no, you understand. So that's how your like function works. It's very useful. I can tell you, it's very useful. But the guy has a senior brother, which is not part of this list. And the senior brother is what? Is regex. So they call it regular expression. So it's just for you to learn in your own free time. Yes. Then let's go to the other thing, which are this and okay, we'll still get there. Should we handle it now? Yes, maybe when we get there, at least we will talk about this in when we get to and or. But for now, I think that's enough for our like. So we've used not equal to, we've used equal to, and the likes. Yes. Any question so far? Is it making sense? Or am I too fast? That's one thing I always get. Sharing is too fast. Any question? Any question so far? But are we able to try it on our own? For example, the like function. Are we able to test it on our own? Do we understand the underscore, the percentage? question? I'm just
Okay.
just
Okay.
okay, go
So
ahead.
please, I didn't get the senior brother of life. The senior brother of this other underscore. You mentioned it. I didn't hear that one well.
Oh, so I said the senior brother of like is called regex. REGESP. So it's
R
called
A.
regex. GESP. So it's called regular
Can
expression.
you
So
help
if
us
we
start
go
it in the?
so if you go online and say
Okay, that's good.
regular expression,
Okay.
so that's it. So if I go to SQL regular expression, so master regex in SQL, anyone's, but that's just some people can call it regex, ESP. So, but at least just it's just for you to know. Yeah. So I can copy this and paste on the group. So, but at least even if it's like alone that you know how to use, I think you're good for now. Yeah. All right. So that's your where clause. Then let's see other by. So like the name sounds, you know, other by is what you're dealing with value. Anything that you want to be able to sort it. So for example, in this case, we are selecting products. So if I come here, if they ask you that which product cost the most, or which one is the most, is it costly or most costly product, right? So the first thing you want to do is you want to even see your product table. So select start from product. This guy gives you all the product records. Products is having S. So you need to be mindful of the name. Good. So this is the product, right? So you know you have how many products? 12 products. Why is it showing 77? Ah, SQL is funny. Okay, it's still loading. Ah, I was scared. Okay, good. So you have 77 products. So if I ask you that, okay, which product costs the most, right? It means I'm looking at the price, right? In terms of price, which one costs the most? So you can bring in your order by function. So that's your order by. Order by what? Price. So funny, I've been in a situation whereby I want to sort something descending and I was writing SQL script and I went blank. I was just saying the guy, I know his order by we are using, but the question is ascending or descending. The thing did not happen, did not occur to me. So what I eventually did was to export to Excel and sort. And by that time, I've been writing SQL. So it's not, so you can see it's not something you cram. The main thing is remember it when you need it. If you don't remember it, don't fight yourself. As long as you can get the results, take it to Excel and go and do the rest. So, but that thing, that thing was funny, daddy. Right? So if I do order by, if you just do order by column, by default, SQL do ascending. If I'm right, so the meaning of ascending is from the lowest to the highest. So if I do order by price, can you see? The guy started from 2.5, which is the cheapest, 4.5, and till the 263.5. So by default, it will give you value. But what the business is asking you for is what? Which one costs the most? So you need to come here. If you want to follow the default, you can use ascend. That's ASC. That's your ascending. And if I run it, you will see you still have the same result because it will be going from the least. The guy has Vex2. Is in my browser now? Okay, so ascending we do from the least to the highest. So I think that's my browser. But if you run it on your own environment, you should have the result. That's ascending. Yes, it's still from that 2.5. But if I change it all I have to do is the opposite of ascending is what? Descending, and that's DESC. So this was what I forgot that day. And I was jumping up and down. So just put DESC and you can see the biggest price coming up. And see, like I said, strictly English. So select all the records from the product table, right? And I want you to order the results by what? The price column, which is this column here. And I want you to sort it what? Descending. And that's it. So you can see quite direct. So that's order by function, right? And you can use multiple functions together. I can say select star from product, right? Where product ID is greater than, right? So if I say product ID is greater than 30, what that means is that I have filtered my record. I've reduced it from where? 77 to like that's 47 because I want from 31 to 77. So you can see me adding this condition. So mere by adding this condition only, it has reduced and restrict my data set, right? So after, so what this guy will do is there is another, the guy will run, select everything first, filter it and reduce it second, then the guy will now order it. So let's run this. So if we run this, good. Can you see what it's doing now? Can you see your record now is now showing 47 records, right? Out of 77 records. So if I change this guy to 35, it should be showing 42 records now because I've removed 5 from it. And this guy is still the highest. If I change this guy to from 40, you won't see this guy there again. It will go to this 59. Can you see 59? Because I said from 40. So you can see how all those things. So this is working with, how will I put it? So putting multiple conditions inside one script. So this condition 1, which is product ID is greater than 40. Then the condition 2 is I want it ordered by price descending. Yes, does that make sense? All right. So you can see, so that's what we have here in terms of order by ordering descending, ordering by product name. That's if you do descending and you're dealing with alphabet, it will start from Z, right? It will start from Z. So that's what they did here. So they ordered by product name. If I change this guy to product name, so if I change this guy to product name, so it's not, you can see it's starting from Z because we are doing descending. So from Z downward. So that's that. Yes. Any question before we go to the AND operator? Okay.
Hello, Mr. Seun. My hand is raised up.
Oh, thank you, Merit. So you can go ahead with your question.
Yeah. I wanted to ask, let's assume I was asked to get this information and I've already run my query. How do I extract this information from SQL?
Oh, okay. 2 ways. If for any SQL environment you're working with, there is always an export option whereby you can copy your data like this and go and paste it in Excel. You can copy physically, that's fine. And you can export. So you can right click and export as CSV. That's possible. And also you can connect to a visualization tool like Power BI or Tableau, and you copy your script and you run your script in Power BI. So it's only the filtered result that you bring into Power BI. I don't know if it makes sense. 3 ways. Export to Excel by copy and paste, or export to Excel by exporting as CSV, or copy your script and put it on your visualization platform. There is a way to do that, where you just do, I know for Power BI, you just go to advanced option and you paste your script. So it's that script that Power BI will execute, and it will show you your result, and that result is what you go and visualize. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. So like I always tell people, SQL is just for data, just to retrieve data. Somebody say I want to do analysis in SQL, I will tell the person don't do that, because you can't send script to the business and say go and run the script to give you total customer. It won't jive, it won't work. So the expectation is run your analysis. Once your data is correct, take it to Power BI, go and do the summary then, right? But you are taking only relevant data to all your visualization platform. That's what SQL is meant for. And you know, for SQL, for data warehouse, they can store information as far back as the bank is inception or the business inception. But the kind of information you need in your report are things that happen maybe max, maybe 1 month or 2 months ago, such that you can use that information to make your quick decision. Imagine you want to determine the number of products to number of productions that you should have next day. So you are doing sales forecast, right? Because of sweet weather in places and around the world now, you know, if you are selling cold things, the expectation is your order will go up in times like this. So you can use what happened between yesterday and day before yesterday to forecast what you should prepare for tomorrow. That's relevant data. But if you now go and pick what happened 3 years ago, you're now comparing it. The weather will shock you. So although you can say, oh, when the temperature was like this 3 years ago, this is the amount of product that we sold. Yes, it still makes sense a bit. Well, but so just try to understand that if you're doing normal forecast, I feel what happened today is more relevant to forecast what will happen tomorrow than you going back 3 or 4 years and say, well, let's go and use 4 years to predict. No, because millions of things have changed. They've changed the government, they've changed the currency, interest rate have started everywhere. You understand? So what is going on today, tell a better story of what will happen tomorrow morning than what has happened 3 or 5 years ago or 10 years, even before COVID. You understand? So that's what SQL. So SQL will help you. You can, within your database, filter out irrelevant dates. Just say where date is greater than 20, maybe January 2024 now. So you know you're only using data sets of things that happened in 2024. So those are the things you use SQL for. Yes, so I said let's go to the hand operator. So hand operator, just like our logic, and is strictly for where you when you use and, you only get results that satisfies both conditions. Both conditions. So you have condition 1 and condition 2. So for this example now, they said get all customers from Spain whose name start with letter G. 2 conditions. You are from Spain and your name starts with what? G. So if you come here, back to customers, and you can see the and condition also is part of the operator for a where clause. So we can say country equals Spain and, right, customer name, right, like, because we say starts with letter G, like what? G, right, that's it. So now the expectation is your result must satisfy these 2 conditions. And that's the power of and. If you have 3 conditions here and you use and as a conjunction, all of them must be satisfied before you see the result. So let's execute this and you can see. The first thing under customer name, are they all starting with letter G? Yes. So first criteria, done. Are they all from Spain? Yes. Second criteria, marked. Right? So that is selecting. So that's the power of hand. So the meaning of hand, both conditions must be satisfied. So somebody said, can I select customers from Spain and Mexico? No, because it is not possible within that column. You can only come from one country, right? You can either come from Spain or Mexico. But when business will ask you, business will tell you, give me a list of customers from Spain and Mexico. So if you say, oh, I have learned how to do SQL, and you jump and say, oh, where country equals Spain and where country equals Mexico, you have beautiful 0. If you say, oh, Mexico, right? If you run this, it will tell you blank, because it is not possible for a customer to come from Spain and also come from Mexico. You say, but that's what the business asked me. No, what the business means is or. And that's what will take us to the or function. So or, the meaning of or is that once you satisfy any of the conditions, you'll be in the result. So if you satisfy country Spain, you are good. You'll be in the condition. If you satisfy country Mexico, you'll be in the result. So if I run this, you can see we have more results, right? Then you can say, oh, or, so if I give me customers from Spain, Mexico, and France. So you can come here and say, or customer country equals France, right? So if you do this, if we have any France, yes, and you can see France. So like that, you can see building up. But the rule of thumb is whenever you're replicating a column multiple times in SQL, you are not doing it right, right? So how do we do this? So remember when we were discussing where, I saw an operator called in and I ignored it. And the reason for that is in cases like this, where you have multiple countries that you want to put into consideration, you can come and change this function from equal to in, open a bracket, rather than writing or just put a comma between your countries. And you have, see how many results we have currently? 21 results. Then you can come here and run it. You will still have the same 21 results. So this is the same thing as writing country Spain or country equals Mexico or country. You understand? Because imagine you are considering 10 countries. You now be writing or country or country. So that's not optimal. So if you just put where country in, then you put all the list of countries you want to see. Then you have the result. Yes, any question? So we've done or indirectly because the guy follows, you can see country, Germany or Spain. So you can see how or works. Then we have not. The meaning of not is just a negation, right? So the way we have country in, I can come here, I can say not country in. You understand? Can I say country not in? Some environments we accept, but some won't accept. So this, to some extent, is the same thing. If I come here and I say not country in, so if I run this, I'm expecting 91 minus 21 results if this works. So because I've used this not to negate, good, that's 70. So 91 minus 21, that's 70. I've used this not to negate what I had previously. So let me see if country not in also works. I'm expecting it to work because it's still showing blue. Yes, and it works also. So anywhere you place your not before the column or after the column, yes, I think the guy works. So you can see all what we're doing is what strictly English. So we've done not. I'll be skipping this insert into. Well, we can do it too because that's inserting records into a table, right? So in this case, we are picking customer table and we are inserting into these specific columns, into customer name column, contact name, address, city. So we are not inserting into all the, is that all? Okay, yes, okay. These are all the columns, so it means this guy will auto-generate the ID itself. So if I copy this, so the thing is, you can create a table, define how you want the structure to be, then you insert values into it. So if I run this, currently we're having 91. Let me see if the guy will increase to 92. If I run this, okay. Uh, insert. So it's asking for an update. So which I know that to some extent, because the reason why this will not work is possibly you don't want you to update the database. And that's why it's not working. So because if this works, it will have updated this guy to 92. And maybe the restriction is there. But at least just know that the insert works. That was one of the reasons why I want to skip it, because it involves tweaking their database, which I know that they might not agree. So let's keep, okay, yes, that's for insert. So we can do null value, and to identify null values, all you just have to put is null. So let's look at if there is a column, okay, there is an address, we can check for null value in the address column. So I can say select from your customers. So I always like run this, so I can check the spelling. I can say where address is null. Is null. So if I do this, it means I only need record where address is null. So there is none. So everybody have address. How I wish I can get a result. So if you do not know, let me see if postal code is null. Postal code is null. So none. So the way we have is null, we have not null too. You just know is word and opposite. So 91 record. It means everything are filled. So yes, you can use that where a column is null, so it will extract all the null values for you. So that's when you use is null. Yes, do we have any questions so far? Any question? All right. So no questions. Yes, then I think we have most of these guys, which are we can run aggregates. So these are aggregate functions. And your aggregate functions are your minimum, maximum, count, sum, average. Yes, and we can put all of them in a single query. So I can come here, I can select start from product. So if I run this, so let's see all the aggregates we can run on products. That's the guy missing us. Good. On this price, let's see what we can do. So I can get count star, which will give you the count of all the records. I can do sum of all the price. I can do minimum price. I can do maximum price. I can do average price. Which other thing can I do? Sum, minimum, average. I think those are all this. Count, sum, that's 5 of them. Yes. Right? And there is a caveat that they ignore null values except for count. And that's all. So if I fire this, can you see? And you can see it's showing you something called expression 1, expression 2. So there is something in SQL called alias. Alias is renaming your expression. So rather than it showing expression up and down, if you are in a proper SQL environment, it is this formula. The guy will put some price, minimum price, all those things. So you can rename it and say this one is my total TOT product. And this one we can see total price, total TOT price. You can call this one main price. You can call this one mass price. Then you can call this one AVG price, right? So that's the, I'm giving it an alias. So let's see if that will work. Maybe the guy want me to put as, okay. So in some environments, once you put space, it seals it. But this one, let's see if as, I know there is a space for alias. So I'm expecting this should work. Yes. So if that works, you can see, although I'm in the environment, you can see me renaming something. So, and that's you using alias. So this as means I'm renaming this expression. So rather than it showing me expression something, I can just rename it as anything I'm interested in. So I'm the one that introduced this name, introduced this. And what I've done is what we call alias, renaming my script. Yes, do we have any question? Yes, so okay. So I think that's where this aliases comes in. You can see rename customer ID as you understand. And you'll be saying as also when you're doing nested query. You'll be saying as. So because yes, just to okay. So that's that. And I was thinking of something now. Good. There is something called group by. It's far. But let's jump to group by. And the reason why we use group by is because, you know, we just learned about aggregate, right? So this aggregate is working because there is no column standing on its own there, right? So if I do this count, let's go back to customers. Do we have any question about this aggregate yet? Any question? Oh, Sean, please remember to teach us how to connect to Power BI. Did I mention it in the last class? Okay, don't worry. I have like an SQL environment on my system. I will show you how to connect to Power BI. That's fine. So maybe towards the end of the class, I can do that. But at least the main thing is let's understand how query works first. It's very important. Okay, so if there are no questions around aggregates, just know that whenever you have an aggregate with a column, then you need a group by function. So let me show you what that means. So if I come here and I say select star from customers. So if I run this, you have your result. So next, if I ask you how many customers are from each of those countries, right? So I can come here, I can say count star and put country. Let me put country at the front. And I can rename this count star as my total customer, right? If I run this, it will give me beautiful error, right? And the error is that what? I have my country expression as part of an aggregate function. So whenever you see a warning like this, it means this column doesn't have an aggregate function and you are matching it with an aggregate. So it will not fly. So you need to come here and say group by what? Country. So if it's 5 columns you have standing alone here, you need to introduce those 5 columns there. But in this case, because we only have country, that's why we are only adding country. So if I run this, my group by will work, right? So you can see in Argentina, we have 3 people. In Australia, we have 2 people. In Belgium, Canada. Yes. And the business can ask you, order by total customers. So I want to see where is most of my customers coming from. So I can come here and say order by total customer. Let me see if total customer will work. Total customers descending. So let me see this. If it throws error, then I know I need to use count of customers descending. That's it. So you can see we have USA with the highest number of customers. Then we have France and Germany having 11 customers. Yes. So does that make sense? And it's 9:10. Edu, when are we rounding up? If I want to use the last 5-10 minutes to connect to Power BI, so at least we write, this one is just for viewing sake. So we write a script on SQL, on my own SQL, and we take it to Power BI. So at least everybody can see how to combine that and connect that. And the issue of connecting to Power BI or anything won't be difficult again. But yes. So I think let me use the last 9 minutes to do that. And so I can be rounding up here, but remember, we still have procedure operators. I think most of them, we have comments, but I wonder why my comment was not working again the other time. But the guy didn't work the other time, it was throwing error. So, well, that's what they are showing us. But you can see that the major things you need to know about SQL, you know it. But I can tell you there is more to it. Yes, there is more to it. But with this that you know, if you get to any interview, once they show you, you can just go, okay. They can just tell you that, oh, in this, can you select customers greater with maybe total value with values greater than so amount. You should be able to write those things, at least the basic query. And the expectation is SQL, fine, there are some things you know by reading, but most of it you know it by using it, like using it hands-on, looking for questions online and trying to solve it on your own. Yes, so you can see we still have some basic things which are, you might not be able to practice it on their environment, but at least you can just read it up and know how it works. And the expectation is maybe if you now have your own environment that you can learn with, then you can try all these things one after the other and see how it works. So yes, let me go to my SQL environment and let me open up a new query. So somebody asked that, how do you connect this information to Power BI? So this is my SQL environment. I have an AdventureWorks data warehouse here. So if I open the tables under my AdventureWorks, you can see them customers. So if I right click, I can just select top 1000 rows. Yes. So you can see what you're having is like a proper bank customer data, right? And you can see how many columns you have. It's like 29 columns, 20 to 29, yes, 29 columns. But eventually, let's say you don't need everything, right? So let's just pick out the columns that you need. So let me remove this top. I need the customer key. That's your customer ID. I don't need geography key. Customer alternative key, fine is fine. Title, I can leave it. I need your first name, middle name, last name, name style. I don't need it. Let me say it doesn't matter in the analysis I'm doing. Marital status suffix is not needed. Gender, very important. Email, good to have. Yearly income, good to have. Total number of children. Number of children at home, I can ignore it. English education. Yes, maybe I want to know, I can ignore Spanish, French, English occupation. I can leave that. Then Spanish, French, I can delete it. House owner flag, maybe number of cars owned, address line 1, 2, phone number, date of first purchase, commute distance. So maybe it's an insurance something. Yes. So you can see with this, I've filtered out the columns I'm interested in. So I can execute this. It gives me, I can see this title have a lot of no. I can remove it. I can say I don't need it. Yes. So I've written a query like this. So because I already have gender, I can use that one to do anything I want to do. And I have the information. How many records am I having? 18,448 rows. 484 rows, sorry, right? This is now my script that I want to use. The next thing is let's go to Power BI. So if I go to Power BI, the moment I launch my Power BI, remember I'm dealing with what? The customer table. So my Power BI is coming up. So once I have my Power BI, it asks for my credentials. Because this Power BI is on my system and this SQL Server is on my system, I will just use my system system access. So let me go to blank report. So this is your Power BI. And in an organization, if they're using Power BI, good for you. The next thing you do is, because I'm using SQL Server on my system, which is owned by Microsoft, import data from SQL Server. So if I select this, the first thing it asks me is my server name. So for any environment to get to, their server must have a name. So if I come to my SQL, I can come to this connection, then I can see my server name. Desktop, all this story, I will just copy it and take it to my Power BI. And that's my server name. The next thing is asking me for my database is optional. But the reason why it's good to put it here is that in some environment, you'll be restricted. So if you just say, go and access our database, it can be throwing up error. If you're in analytics department and you know that the analytics team, they have their own database, just I said, just respect yourself. So it's a good practice to just come here and get the name of the database you are given access to and just copy the name. So in this case, because it's on my system and I want it to access AdventureWorks, so I'll just come here and paste the database name, right? Then the next thing is, why are we even writing all this SQL? This is the reason, this advanced option. So if I come to advanced option, it's asking me to put a query statement, an SQL statement. So this is where I will come and copy the script I've written, right? I can come here and come and paste it. Let's add a where clause. And the reason why I'm adding where is just so we know that everything we're doing online makes sense. I can say where total children is greater than 0. So where total children is greater than 0. So I just want people that have, well, that's where total children is greater than 0. Let's just use that. Or let's say it's greater than 2. So maybe we want to do support for people having 2 or more children, right? So let's imagine that's our business aim in this case. So how many are they? So let's run that. So from, is it 18,000 or 8,000 or 81,000? We are left with 5,000 people. So 5,000 rows. I can now copy this query and take it to my SQL statement and paste it here. And these are the only relevant information that will be how we have in my Power BI. So the moment I click OK, so the guy look at the database, look at the server, and go to where I have my data. Remember, we said where total children greater than 2. Can you see total children? Everything you will have here, even starting from the preview, we know they are more than 2. It's starting from 3, 4, 5, 6, and the likes. So if you have anything you want to do with your data, transform your data. So this is where you do your data preparation, data cleaning. This is not a session for Power BI, it's a session for SQL. But we've been able to see how what you've learned in SQL can be used in SQL, and then you can now move your data from SQL into Power BI using that query. So if your query is right, then you have it. Yes, and there are other means of doing this. You can turn it to a view. You can turn it, yes, you can turn it to a view. So it's just the view you call in like a table name and the likes. There are a lot of ways you can do that, right? So I think this is where I stopped. You can see you're in Power Query now. I remember I do this class whereby you, from your Power Query, you clean your data set, then you go and do your visualization. So that's, yes. So those ones are, this is where you continue from where they stop.